Vulcan was born the son of Jupiter, head honcho of the Roman pantheon, and his wife, the goddess Juno. All the gods of the Roman pantheon were said to be beautiful and handsome, so it was expected that this newborn child would be as well. However, Vulcan was rather ugly. Upon looking at her newborn son's face, Juno saw that the baby was ugly and red-faced. Now, if you were in Juno's situation, would you A. love your child no matter how they looked, as you're their mother and will love them unconditionally, or B. yeet his ugly ass off Mount Olympus? Juno did what any self-respecting woman would do, and went with option A. I'm just kidding, she's a massive bitch and went with option B. And so, the newborn Vulcan tumbled for an entire day and an entire night before splashing down into the ocean. Upon hitting the water, he broke one of his legs, leaving him with a limp for the rest of his life. He was soon found by sea nymphs, who took him in and raised him as one of their own. Presumably because nymphs are massive arseholes, unlike a certain deity. Juno. Sorry, just a little summon in my throat there. Fuck you, Juno. So anyway, Vulcan had a nice childhood. He grew up down where it's wetter, darling it's better, under the sea. One day though, he found the remains of a fisherman's fire on the beach, and became fascinated with it. He took one of the smouldering coals home, and made a fire with it. On the first day, he stared at the fire. On the second, he learned that he could stoke the fire with his bellows, allowing for a hotter, larger flame. On the third, he realized he could melt down ores into precious metals and hammer them into shape while they cooled. He beat the metals into the shape of various trinkets, bracelets, and brooches. He quickly became talented at this whole metal shaping thing, and eventually made beautiful jewellery and gifted it to the sea nymphs that raised him. This is doubly impressive when you realise that he lives underwater. One of these nymphs, Thetis, was invited to a feast on Mount Olympus. Wanting to look her best, she wore a necklace that Vulcan had made for her. The ornate necklace caught the attention of Juno, who asks Thetis where she might acquire such a beautiful necklace for herself. Thetis was like, I dunno. To which Juno promptly replied, well, you must have gotten it somewhere. To which Thetis replied, I just found it? Okay, Thetis, cut the bullshit. Where'd you get the necklace from, and why won't you tell me? Thetis relents and tells Juno the truth about how the baby she once threw off Olympus was found by her and her fellow nymphs, and how they raised him, and how he was still alive and an excellent smith. Hearing this, Juno orders Vulcan to return to Mount Olympus, presumably so he can make her lots of pretty things. Understandably, Vulcan tells Juno to fuck right off. He did, however, send her a beautiful golden chair. Ah, how nice. Which immediately trapped Juno with unbreakable chains the moment she sat in it. Okay, maybe a little less nice, but it's Juno we're talking about, so I'll let it slide. After 3 days of being trapped in the chair, Jupiter decides it's time to intervene on his wife's behalf. He promises Vulcan that in exchange for freeing Juno and returning home to Olympus, he would marry him to Venus. Venus, being the god of beauty, was drop-dead gorgeous, so Vulcan agreed to his father's offer, freeing Juno and returning to Olympus so he could marry Venus. He later built a forge under Mount Etna in Sicily, where he forged the weapons and armour used by the very gods themselves. It's said that whenever Venus cheats on him, he grows so angry that when he works the forge, sparks fly out the top of Mount Etna. As Mount Etna is one of the most active volcanoes in the world today, it's fair to say that Venus is quite the thought. Thus ends the tale of Vulcan, the Roman god of fire and forge. You know, he reminds me a lot of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Cast out for being physically deformed, only to be welcomed back by those who once shunned him, once they realise that they can exploit his talents. Moral of the story, kids, if you're ugly, you better have some exploitable talents, or no one will ever love you. Also that Juno's a massive cunt. Thank you for watching my first video. Any feedback on how to improve is greatly appreciated, and if you want to see more, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it'll help me grow this channel.